our traveling minister, Horane Smith. Let us welcome him.
Good morning, everyone. It's really good to be here in the heat. And by the way, I don't complain about heat. I wish I had it 12 months a year. But first of all, I really want to thank all the effort that has been going in to ensure that we have, a nice, comfortable surroundings, and I really want to commend Pastor Bowen and his team for doing that. It takes a lot of hard work, I can tell you. Some of you may be aware of that. But it's good to be here. And the heat is on. The truth is, I don't think you need a sermon today. I think you've had enough, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to dodge what lies ahead for me to fulfill. Because you've been used to Pastor Bowen, occupying this slot all these years. So, I had a little dream last night. You know what I dreamt? That you were all disappointed. Truly, I had that dream. That you were all disappointed after my presentation. But, sometimes dreams have a way of being the opposite, Exactly. But what a joy is it to be here in Jamaica. It's really good to come back to the roots and to reflect and to see the faces. There are so many colors here. Really nice, a little niceness about the place. But I want you to keep that word in mind, nice. Because as we go along, it's going to come up very often. Last night, we were rushing to get back here in time for the 7 o'clock service. We were all the way in St. Elizabeth. And we're on time, but we're on the highway and, that dashboard light that you don't want to see. It comes up and then it goes away and you say, okay, everything is fine. But then it keeps coming back. So we didn't want to take a chance. So we pull up at a gas station. And I tell you, I've had one of the most positive experiences out of that. I like to use negative situations to pull the positives from them. Because here we are at this gas station, total strangers. And believe me, some guys came around and started a rally. One pulled out the battery because they suspect that was the problem. And another went to his vehicle and pull it out of his vehicle and bring it into our vehicle to try to get a start. And we actually found out that the problem was the battery. It went dead. But I'm looking back and I'm saying, these guys, really, it's not everywhere you go and you have that sort of experience. I can tell you that. And it will always stand out in my mind. Brethren, isn't the world a nice place? I didn't hear an answer. Isn't the world a nice place? You come here, you eat in the nice food, in your nice dress, right? The beautiful smiles. There's a little niceness about this. Because it's not every day we see the blue turquoise waters of the Caribbean there. So there's a little niceness going on. And if we were to transcend ourselves back to the secular world, the world is nice and fine and everything is going quite nice. The cell phone and the games on the phones, and I tell you, a lot of things are going great. In Jamaica, you have the challenges. You don't think I know about them? I think I know them more about them than you, if you want to challenge me on that. Because I get all the bad news too. I have my ways of getting them. But on the global sphere of things, people who are not concerned about the divine, about God, about what lies ahead in the future, everything is fine. There's an element of hopelessness around in our world, but unfortunately, not everyone sees it. Not everyone sees it. You and I know, and we are conscious of the fact that there's no guarantee that any one of us will walk out of this room alive today. We have no guarantees that we'll be returning to this Feast of Tabernacles next year. In fact, you have no guarantee you're going back to your home next week. But does the world think of that? No. They're preoccupied with the job, and of course we need a job. But that's their preoccupation. When I'm going to get a little raise to drink a few more liquor, or to take a cruise, or to be able to eat out 4 times a week instead of 1 time, that is their goal. But in the sphere of things, as far as they are concerned, everything is nice. I took a look at some real hard facts to back up my story that the world is nice. For many years, heart disease was regarded as the #1 killer, and it still is. But guess what? The rates have been dropping down, especially in North America and some parts of Europe, because people are becoming more health conscious. And they're not eating the grime and the fat and so on as they used to. Mind you, people are still eating it, but not to the level that they were, say, 10, 15 years ago. So there's a kind of little rejoicing in the medical community that yes, we're making some advances. Cancer, the big C, was regarded as a deadly disease. But you know that most cancer now, if caught in the early stage, you can live up to 20, 25 years with cancer. Apart from pancreatic cancer, that's the most deadly one. So, things are going on. We look back into the ages if I'm a historical fanatic, I love the history. You go back into time gone by and you read of the great Spanish flu that killed over 20 million people, the bubonic plague and all of those things. We don't have them anymore. Is that right? Do we have them? We come to that later. So we are making progress as a species. Look, I can buy a car and don't need to drive it. I jump in my self-driven car. I don't have one, mind you, don't have one. And it can drive me. That's luxury, brethren. You can imagine the Apostle Paul come and he sees this thing running around. He'll be wondering, what on earth is this? Your cell phone? Boy, they have some things called smartphone nowadays. I'm in the supermarket shopping and I can tell what's in my refrigerator. Brethren, we are making progress. Mind you, there are some things going on too, but we are making progress as a species. No one can deny the technological advances that we've seen, and there's some mind-boggling technology out there. I can't even go into some of them. You wonder where we are all heading. I'm going to read something to you. It came across my search the other day, and I was astounded by this because I wasn't really following up in this area. It's artificial intelligence. But you know about that? Well, it's creeping us up on our society. The most towering, overlooked threat to human existence hasn't garnered the attention it deserves. This is what this writer says. What's scary is that the threat is all around us. On our phones, in our cars, in your household appliances. Potential dangers associated with rapid, or AI, artificial intelligence development have been an afterthought for most. But should there be, though, some of the most brilliant minds on the planet involved in the field of robotics? Think so, brethren. There's a plan. There's an orchestrated plan, it seems, to replace us with robots. You see the little job we're holding on to? You see the little, sorry, I'm going to need that. You see the little job we're holding on to? I'm not saying you shouldn't hold on to it, you know. But when it comes in God's way, let the job go. Let the job go, because it's going to walk away from you. And see robot coming up too, because it's going to replace a lot of what we do. And I know many of you here have been through the trying times with the jobs and the Sabbath and to get it off and so on. But brethren, it's not worth it. This world here is nice, but it has some little things going on. Yes, doctors can stay in North America anywhere and perform surgery in Europe. You know that? Choose some laser technology. Europe. These are unheard of achievements. You know, in the time of Christ, you know what the average human lifespan was? 25 to 30 years in the time of Christ. You know how much is it now? 87 in Japan. Women are living up to 87 years in Japan. Jamaica, about 75. Canada, 82. United States, 81. Most of Eastern Europe, well, not Eastern Europe, but the G20 area, up to 84, 85. You want better than that? And now there moves afoot to make us live to 120 years. Wow. These are astounding realities we cannot ignore. And I say we here because I'm generalizing now. If we come to categorizing, then that's a different matter. But we as a species, we cannot ignore that. I read last week where there's technology being pursued now, using space travel, that anywhere you are on the planet, you can travel to any destination in the world within 1 hour. Can you believe that? Within 1 hour, anywhere you are on the planet, using space travel. Whew. Sounds like a dream. It's amazing how many things that we watch in movie, we are seeing them become real now. You realize that? Some things you think it was science fiction 20, 30 years ago, and you see them happening now. Our world is advancing, believe me. The economic momentum, the global economy, according to the World Economic Outlook for July 2017, it says recovery continues. Growth outturns in the first quarter of 2017 were higher than in April, and it forecasts to increase in developing economies in Brazil, China, and Mexico, and in several advanced economies in Canada, France, Germany, Italy. Things are booming. In the US, it's almost full employment. You realize that? What better can we want? What better can we want? Who needs God? Who really needs God in these boom times? Do we really need a God? You look and you listen to the commentators, and if one were to take a page out of their books, who really needs God? We are bigger than God. That Beatles man says he was bigger than Jesus. Well, that's resonating with a lot of people. Yes, peace. The 2017 Global Peace Index yields some unexpected results. Global peace is increasing on an average. Yes, there are conflicts with terrorism and all of that, but it's on the improve. We are witnessing an era of growth, it says, when it comes to peace. So, I think things are going nice. I can buy my Diamond Panther bracelet for $12.4 million and wear and feel good, or my Porsche, or my, the top of the class Benz, how much those cost. Ooh, that's luxury. Perfect pink, I can buy all of those things. The Huya bird for $100,000 US, card playing, paintings, $260 million. That's luxury. I mean, why not live life? You're dead here, you're here today and drop dead tomorrow. Why not live up your life? Why you have to come here? Spend how much $1,000 to come here? To do what? Sing a few little songs and feel euphoria and you feel good within yourself, right? You're just on the stage here, watching all these nice singers with all the resonating harmonies and so on, and I feel good for a little while. You feel good now? What about after the feast? You're going to carry that with you to work? So we feel good for a little while. But when the dose of reality hits us, when that first paycheck comes after the feast, and if you haven't been, using your second pay, you're saving a second tithes and all of that, you have to put in a little of that too, a little advice. Boy, when the reality comes of what we face as a species, as a child of God, as a saint of God, when you come into the church, that's when your trouble begins, not when they end. Brethren, it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge. But nevertheless, the world doesn't think like you. They're into their own little sphere of enjoyment and overnight pleasure, and they get up every day and the cycle continues of, job 5 days a week, earn a little and just blow it, and so on and so on and so on. That is life. I was arguing with someone some years ago, and I found it difficult to argue with him, right? Because first of all, he said, "Don't bring this to me. I don't want to hear from this. I don't believe in it. Fiction, fairy tale. So put away this and let's talk." You are going to spend your whole life pinching and squeezing to save money to go to your feast and so on. Man, I don't have to worry about any feast. I don't get up with worries in the morning, because to me I'm free like a bird in the tree. I have to answer to no one. I can live immoral or moral, whichever choice I have. I don't have to account to anyone. I just live my life. I just enjoy my life, because you know what? When I die, that's it. So why not enjoy it now? He has a point. You realize that he has a point? That is how he sees it. You and I see it differently. But that is how we see it. And if you can't bring this to him, then what's the basis of arguing? Because this is our premise. This sword here is our premise. That's why it's coming under attack. I guarantee you in the next 10 to 15 years, it's hate literature. Those things are coming upon you. We see evidence of that already. In Canada some years ago, there was a motion to have it outlawed as hate literature. That was 20 years ago. Not yesterday, 20 years ago. So it's coming. It's coming. So you and I will have to stand up in this nice world for this. But is the world so nice? You know, maybe I was dreaming in the past 20 minutes or so. Is the world so nice? Wonderful world, beautiful people. I met some beautiful people last night, yes. But it's so nice. I wonder about that. You have a good stomach? Did you have a hearty breakfast this morning? You have a tough skin? Or you get sick? I want to know, because I'm going to read something to you from our nice world. So forgive me. I'm going to get graphic. Because we have to get a dose of reality if we've been sleeping, and even if you're awake. Because you come to the feast to be armed and recharged and re-energized to go back into Babylon. The Russian cannibal. You always read about the Taino, the cannibalizing with the Carib. I don't believe in that history anyway. It worked. But that's another story. The Russian cannibal. And he's a couple too. The Russian cannibal couple accused of murdering, then eating 30 people, served up some of their victims in human, anybody here like meat pies? Human meat pies. You think I'm reading fiction? This was in the news last week from our nice world. Published reports say Natalia Bakasheva, 42, her hungry hubby, Dmitry Balskev, confessed to murdering, dismembering and eating scores of their victims. Yeah, eating them. You think you're living in the 17th century when all of these reports are going around people eating each other? It's right here today. It's right here today. Neighbors told reporters that Bakasheva made and sold meat pies for extra money, the Russian Today reports. And she told local cafe owners that she could supply meat and may have worked as a chef. Like go to restaurants in our nice world today, be careful what you're eating. I bake pies, she reportedly told one local, who added that when she was asked about her ingredients, I go to the supermarket, because I do the shopping, you know that? From in Jamaica days, I go to my Len Hop and my Jenna Wong. They're still around? Yeah. Oh, I can't touch this card here, I must remember. Yeah. I usually do my shopping in Jamaica. My wife will tell you here, not that she didn't want to shop, but I just love shop. But shop for the vitals. I don't mean shopping with jewelry. Not that. For survival then. And I still do it up in Canada. So I always looking at the ingredients to see what's in them. But brethren, we are in an age now, what they tell you on the label is not that it. And those of you who like your organic, you watch that too. Because you only slap it on, and that's all there to it. Trust in you, Jesus. Not the organic. What he said, he always asks about the ingredients. And you know what this man replied? Oh, whatever is around, I use it in my pies. In the freezer of one of the gruesome twosome house in southern Russia, detective found chopped up human remains. Jars of steamed human meat were also discovered. That is our world that we live in today. That is our nice world. Here's another one that touched me as well. Last 2 months. A teen was arrested after he allegedly killed his mother in her sleep after she refused to let him keep a puppy. After the mother said, you cannot keep a puppy in my house, she killed her mother in her sleep. Him. Kill his mother in his sleep. In her sleep, rather. This is our world, you know. This is our world. Isn't it sad? And let me tell you, there are countless stories like this. This is why I just pull out something. Countless stories like this in our nice world, that our leaders fail and our social engineers, they fail to see the reality of what is going on in our nice world. But these are things that are occurring. What would cause a mother to drown her 6 children? What would cause a lady who bore with all the pain and the discomfort for 9 months, bring forth a child and leave the child in the garbage? What in this world is going on? And believe me, they're more common than you think. When I want to get a dose of reality of what is happening in our world, go to the hospitals and you hear the shriek of agony and pain. You watch children walking for miles to pools to fetch water that look like chocolate milk. And that is what their drinking water is. This is our world. While we have people, you know, flying from having their breakfast in London and whoop over to Zurich, have lunch, and whoop back down here, have dinner in their wealth. And nothing is wrong with wealth, man. What's wrong with wealth? It's what you do with it. Since we are here, or by the end of this day, 24,000 children will die from hunger. That's what the UN says. Not me. That is our world. You know, the famous writer Charles Dickens, he says, it is the best of times. It is the worst of times. It is the spring of hope. It is the winter of despair. It is a season of opportunity. It is an end. It is an era of apathy. That's our ugly world. Yes, our ugly world thought that he had gotten rid of the bubonic plague. It's coming back. You know that? Leprosy, you read about it in the scriptures. There are several places now where leprosy has started to afflict people again. TB, when I was growing up as a child, I hear my parents say, boy, you have to be careful, you don't want to get TB. Tuberculosis is back. The powerful antibiotics can't come near it. Vancomycin and the others, they can't come near it. Chronic diseases, even the fear now is the deadly smallpox, that it could be coming up again. Influenza, the Black Death, the plague that killed how many millions in Europe. Those are the realities we're facing. When a few years ago we had the SARS crisis in Toronto, you know, you're walking around and people have their, you know, their face covered. That's what we're dealing with. But I tell you one thing, we have a short memory. We as human beings, we have a very short memory. And now you remember any of the sermons from last feast? It's a good way to test. Anyway, I won't go there. But the things our society are preoccupied with, I think it causes a little stress on us because we